They don't have a genius developer or arcade games they're making, so they had to find software somewhere. So what they did was they went on a very aggressive campaign to all the developers to...
If Sony had not brought hardware to the video game industry, I think the industry would be a lot smaller than it is right now.
Enough to really differentiate this system and show that it was a 3D based system, and it really blew everybody away.
But at first, a lot of developers were dead set against it, mainly because it was high technology, it was 3D, and a lot of game companies were still making 2D games, and they said that's going to be so expensive to make 3D games, no way we can afford it, and it's going to be very hard.
Fight one! Ready? Go!
One game that changed it and helped Sony, ironically, was Virtua Fighter.
Sega announced Virtua Fighter for the first time, and that completely opened up eyes of other publishers that showed that 3D graphics can be applied to other types of games.
All of a sudden it was a leap. I couldn't keep up with enough of the companies that were coming to us. They were asking us, can we do this? Is it possible to do this? Everybody wanted to work on the system.
Sony does everything it can to round up third-party developers to support the PlayStation and is able to sign 250 in Japan alone. In December of 1994, Sony releases the PlayStation, now without an X, in Japan.
The success in Japan was almost instantaneous. Another 3 months to get to the million mark in Japan. And I remember the then chairman of Nintendo saying that if we ever got to 1 million units, he would resign because he clearly knew nothing about the games business. It took him a few more years to actually get around to it, but I thought it was a great statement.
The next step is ensuring a successful launch in the US and Europe. The PlayStation picks up more and more sales thanks to powerful hardware and a collection of exclusive games and other hits.
We had Ridge Racer as a driving game.
Okay, the final lap, hang in there!
So we had a driving game, and then I wanted a fighting game. So I went out and hunted for that. Found Toshinden. If you look at the sexiness and the appeal of what Toshinden was about as a fighting game, it was fabulous. It was a major, major hit. In 1996, we came out and launched Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot was a terrific launch title. Defined PlayStation as a platform.
And it was about a year or so after the launch of PlayStation. One of the executives at Squaresoft said he's going to make Final Fantasy on PlayStation. At that point, I felt that all the tides will change.
The PlayStation proves to be a juggernaut that plows through all competition.
The Saturn launched before PlayStation in 1995, which was the wrong time to launch. Also at a very expensive price point. I believe it launched at $399 versus $299. The PlayStation launched and did not have very good games.
The success of the PlayStation goes beyond even Sony's expectations.
Let's go! Eventually, the success of the PS2 kind of like brought the PS1 era to a close.
Before the original PlayStation came out, the media perception of the video game business was that it's basically a toy for kids. But we saw the PlayStation as not really a platform of entertainment for kids, but really an interactive entertainment platform for everybody.
Today, Sony remains #1. The PlayStation successor, the PlayStation 2, has shipped more than 90 million units worldwide and is still going strong. Sony is moving into the portable gaming market with the PSP, while the next generation PlayStation 3 is just around the corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the father of the PlayStation, Ken Kutaragi.
And the man that started it all is still at the helm, ready for the next challenge.
And now, I have the final and the biggest announcement.
Ken Kutaragi is a man who has years in advance plotted out in his head and has an amazing vision of where he wants video games to go.
Ken is really the father of the PlayStation.
He always believed PlayStation would be #1. You know what? I have to applaud him. He was right.